Hello everyone, welcome to session 8 of the Startup 100, Setting Yourself Up for Success. Today I'm here with Mike Brown, SMU graduate and founder of Green Gutter Solutions and co-founder of Bin Buddies and Clean Simple. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, tell us a little bit about your story, how you started and where you come from.
So basically I started here at St. Mary's about 5 years ago. I had a background in automotive and I injured my back and couldn't work any longer through a car accident. So I decided, I'm going to go retrain, go to university, and kind of see what it's all about.
Right, yeah.
So at that point, entrepreneurship wasn't something I really considered, thought of, didn't think it was for me. And so I'm just going through the courses, and actually I studied abroad in France.
Oh, okay.
So when I was there, I started seeing things are being marketed differently, there's different products, different services, a different way of doing things, and I thought that's really interesting. So I came back after that, and I talked to Dr. Ellen Farrell and said, tell me more about entrepreneurship, like what's this about? I've got these ideas running through my head and I'm wondering why they're doing things differently than what we're doing here. Right. And so she's like, that's perfect. That's, so I started the first course with her, which was structuring the startup. And the premise of that was you had to start a business for $10.
Right.
And so people were making cookies, selling advertisement spaces on placemats for restaurants, anything that you could do fairly low cost and just kind of get a feel for business.
Right.
So I started cleaning rain gutters. The weekend before I was at a camp with my friends and we were all doing different chores around the camp and I cleaned the rain gutters and I was like, this is a terrible job. Nobody wants to do this. And I thought,
well, there's your need.
Yeah,
Right?
So I thought, you know what, let's try it out. So I had a business partner at the time when I was going through the project and we started cleaning rain gutters, knocking on doors, basically shamefully doing whatever we could to kind of get our name out there and make a bit of money and learn from this. And we found a product at Costco that you could install in the rain gutter that would allow you not to have to clean it each year. So we bought it and then we sold it and we marked it up. We thought, wow, we're geniuses. Like, we didn't know anything about the industry, that this is actually pretty common, but again, we just started with a simple concept. So we brought on exclusive rights for a product the next year for Atlantic Canada for an environmentally friendly product that goes on top. And I ran the company, it's still going now, but I ran it really seriously for about 18 months. And I just realized, I kind of owned a job and I didn't own a company. All that came through the learning. Like if I didn't start, I wouldn't have known these things. But I realized I'm the one who's installing, I'm selling, I'm doing the invoicing, I'm answering the phones, and as soon as I stop, the company stops, so which is an issue. So when I launched my second company, which is Clean Simple, it was based on the premise that basically if I get hit by a bus, that the company's still going, that you can actually sell something, which was important to me because I like to travel, there's other things I like to do, and I want to be able to grow something that wasn't solely dependent on me. So that company, Clean Simple, is a residential and commercial cleaning company. We have a layer of technology to allow us to scale, so we're actually getting ready to go into Ottawa actually in the next few months. So that's kind of my story where I'm at right now.
Cool, all right. The main topics we want to cover today are going to be time management and then motivation. So we really want to get at someone such as yourself with 3 companies going on, a lot on your plate. How do you manage your time to get the things that need to be done today done? Where do you get the motivation to do those things?
Yeah, so time management's huge. So when I was at SMU, so I just graduated last May. So I launched I launched 2 companies in my final term and I had Green Gutter running before that.
Right.
So I did care and still do care about academics. So I was trying to maintain a good GPA. Also, I wanted to be involved in the volunteer community because that's important to me. So, and then, friends, family, all the rest, like where do you find the time in life? So I'll draw for you right now something that I was struggling a bit trying to figure out how do I balance this? Because what happens is you take on one thing and it starts out, and as soon as it starts to catch, you can't really anticipate how quickly something's going to move until it does. And then you're sitting there like now you're committed. You have clients, you have employees, you have all this stuff going on, and they're all waiting on you, and you're kind of caught in that mix. Before I did it, so what happened was I was going through a bit of anxiety trying to figure out, I'd wake up each morning just scattered all over the place. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And you're always reading and hearing about people who aren't balancing everything, and they just make it look so effortless. It's like, what's happening? So I actually went to a psychologist and I said, look, I need help with time management. My mind is all over the place trying to figure this out. What can I do? So he drew this very simple diagram for me, and it was huge. So, oh, that's not great. So he said, this is you. And he said, basically what happens is every time you have a worry or concern, it's a dot. It's out here. So what if what if I lose a major client and I can't pay my rent? What happens if I'm late on my assignments and I don't graduate? Like everything that's out there, your mind is just all of those things, right? So you have all those every day. You're trying to get your day going, but this is what's happening. He said, you take a line and you draw it through. You hit one, maybe two of them. And so let's say that's you can't pay your rent. You thought it was going to be because you couldn't, because you lost a client. And in fact, it's because a client late on a payment. And so what you had foreseen as a worry and a concern, most of them didn't come true at all. You did graduate, you did go through all these things because you kept moving. The one or two things that do happen that you're worried and concerned about aren't even the same when you get there.
So your preparation of moving through them basically prepares you to handle them. In the case of
exactly. So what happens is you're sitting there, okay, well, if I can't pay my rent, I'm going to do this, and then all of a sudden you have all these other worries. But when you actually arrive at something, you can't pay your rent because a client's 3 days late, you call your landlord, they say, no problem, and that's it.
So in 3 days.
So yeah, so you spend all this time, I spent all my time worrying and thinking about this, and what I did was I just basically shut my mind off on that. So when I was working on an assignment, that's what I did. I did not worry about invoicing, about a sales meeting that I had after that. When I was working on my assignment and I was in school, that's what I did.
So just complete singular focus on task at hand.
When I was working in my company, I wasn't worrying about university. And when I was with my friends, family, that's what I was thinking about. Although arguably I was probably thinking about my business when I was still with my friends and family. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, and it still holds true today as I'm growing and there's a lot of things happening. I still go back to that. As soon as I start to find my mind, wandering around and thinking, I think about that and it's gone. I think the main thing for us to remember is that we have the ability to adapt. People are just always concerned of what's going to happen in that. Wait for it to happen. When it does, you will figure it out. I mean, we could fail 10 times over, and we're going to get up on our feet and keep moving.
As long as you drive strong enough, you'll find the how-to to any problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So when it comes to your daily time management, do you have a routine, a schedule that you like to follow? There's certain things, do you identify the most important things of your day and do those first? Do you defer them till later in the day? How's that
So
work?
at the end of every day, to help my mind rest and go to sleep, I create my to-do list for the following day. Because if I don't create something that says, this is my structure, then I lay in bed and I just think.
Right.
And so, it's terrible, right? So I found that that's how I tick. I find out, how you work and you go with that. So I set up my list. Everything's color-coded. It probably looks like I'm a bit crazy. But I set that up. I go to sleep. I wake up in the morning, and before my feet touch the floor, before I shower, first thing is, and I've heard people say opposite, but it puts me at ease to look at my messages, see where everybody's at, see what's happening.
See if there are any fires to put out.
Exactly. If there's no fires to put out, great. And usually what I'll do is I'll watch a quick video on something about motivation, or I'll be doing something like this. So it's kind of like it's that balance. Then get up, shower, and start my day. We have a virtual assistant.
Yep. Okay.
And we've used them a couple times, a couple different people, and it's been great. And so Zirtual, they have a workshop that goes through about time management, and they talk about, there's different segments, like when you should be doing your emails, when you should be doing, so when are you, best focused?
Right, yeah, what time during the day is your energy, most efficient for you to focus and think and problem solve?
Yeah, so what I did was I was just making notes, when I was emailing, because I was emailing all over the day, and so I started to segment things. I prefer to do a lot of my emailing in the morning. I like my afternoon meetings. That's kind of how I do it. Like, I like to be able to email from bed. And it sounds crazy, but it's what I like to do. I find it's easy. I'm not a morning person. I'm more of the person who does not want to go to sleep.
Right.
I'm usually too excited about what's happening.
So in the morning you do the easy stuff of emailing and helps you wake up and get used to it.
That's how I slide into my day.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
Cool. And that flows really well in our next question, which comes to motivation. So, like you said, you're not necessarily an early riser you'd like to be, but there's times when you have to be, or there's aspects of your business that are essential but not necessarily the most fun or glamorous. How do you find the motivation to do those things, specifically around procrastination? Because a lot of us procrastinate due to fear or anything like that. How do you dig into problems?
So I think one of the things is, as you push, like if you really want to succeed and you're pushing, you're setting these targets for yourself, you're constantly stretching to get them. And when you do, everything can fail if you don't keep on top of it, right? So for me, we closed quite a bit of commercial work, and so when we were hiring on new cleaners, we have a very strict process. And I'm not just hiring anybody, and so I've had times where I've been out cleaning bars here in Halifax at 3 in the morning until 8 in the morning, then going home, getting showered, throwing on a suit and going to meetings. And so
Wow.
it's not something I have to do now, but
Right.
it was when I started.
Necessary when you started.
And the thing is, people say, oh, I wouldn't want to do that, or you should have hired someone. It's like, yeah, but if we lose that contract, like, who's going to pay me?
Yeah, the buck
how am I
stops
gonna
with
eat?
you. You were the
Yeah,
entrepreneur
so
you
it's
are.
like this. It's like it has to be done, so you do it.
Right.
And I think that there's a lot of grind at the very early stages. Not to say that it goes away, as there's always different challenges, but I think at the beginning it's very, very hands-on. And if you can't afford someone to do it,
You have to do it
you
yourself.
have to do it yourself. So then it comes to, I think with motivation, is I was actually at one point scared to close more sales, because I was like,
It's gonna be more work for you.
yeah, it's like if I,
Yeah.
and I realized, no, this is what you need to do. Get over that hurdle, close the sales, get the people in place,
Right.
motivate them, keep them going, and get a good support team. And then I actually had a couple of my cleaners find out that I was going up doing this, like, you can't be doing this. So all of a sudden they stepped up, because I have a lot of respect for them, they have respect for me.
Right.
And so then all of a sudden you get this team dynamic of everyone's pitching in.
Perfect. That's cool. I like that they were able to see it as the team, as the business.
Exactly.
Yeah. So do you find that, having run 3 companies now,
Yeah.
do you find as those successes come, you almost learn to love the grind because you start adapting, realizing, oh, this work now yields the profit of the desired.
Exactly, yeah, it's really exciting. I think you get that momentum, and it's addictive. Like, whenever you close a sale, whenever this stuff is happening, you're adding another person to the team. You're just seeing that. So it's not about money. For me, I'm still very, very early on, so there's no money there.
Right.
It's like we're just growing. Like, every time something happens, it's going back into business. We're getting ready to
Yeah.
expand. No one's giving themselves big paydays. For now, just growing and seeing, like, I started something out of nothing, and then you're watching it build, and that's what's really exciting.
Cool. All right. So just going on from there is when you first started. So when you first started the Green Gutter Solution, things like that. When you're a new entrepreneur, what were some things you thought, looking back, that held you back that you wish you were able to overcome? Any certain mistakes, or maybe individual personality traits that you realized that could have been overcome earlier? You might have had a different path.
So one of it comes down to sales. So my business partner, Mark Mayhew, in Green Gutter, when he and I started it, he had a sales background. He was an auctioneer. He'd been traveling the world selling
Wow.
artwork, all the rest. It was great, but I didn't have a background in sales. So I was knocking on doors with him, and I was terrified. I was frightened. I remember the first door that we knocked on, it, he said, "This one's for you." And I was like, "What?" And an old lady came out, and she was so kind. She's like, "How can I help you?" And I froze, and I was like, "How? Like, there's no reason to be scared right now." So for me, what happened was I had that feeling in my stomach of, like, there's some uncertainty. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm uncomfortable. And you kind of push away from that, but as you learn, like, every time I'm now in a situation with that means something good's about to happen. So I was just in Toronto 2 weeks ago. We're doing a seed round right now, and you're pitching to people, angels and VC, and they have, really high expectations of what you're going to present.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it now. You know what I mean? So even if they're coming at me, and not everyone does, some people are really friendly, some people are aggressive, just in nature.
Yeah.
But you learn to adapt to that and figure out, like, something good's happening. When you're getting that feeling in your stomach, it's like, keep pushing.
That fear of
Yeah.
pushing into the unknown usually ends up being good.
And I think a lot of people are scared to fail, and that's why they actually don't begin. So, like, the way I look at it, I've had friends who are not entrepreneurs, they say, well, what if your business fails? What if you can't pay your rent? Like, it's the same
Right.
thing.
Yeah,
Like, what if all these things happen? And I always say, like, I'm going to figure it out. There's no way that I'm going to lose everything, start over, lose everything again, and never make it. Like, it's not like, it's not
Yeah, you
possible.
put the effort in, you put enough hard work, and you learn enough lessons, and
This is it.
down to
As long as you're not
happen.
making the same mistakes, and because we've all made them, I've made mistakes, and it's like, okay, this is where I got burned, or I lost this, opportunity. Why? Assess it, and then go back from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Mike. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys learned a lot. If you have any questions for us or Mike, just ask them on the Facebook page or the app, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. All right. Thanks, guys.